All right, looks like it is live. All right, guys. What's up, design lifers? So I went live, I think sometime last week, and something happened, so I cannot. I'm gonna try to redo it again. So some of the questions you guys asked under the comment community section on my YouTube channel. And so I'm going to try to answer those questions right now. All right, let's see here. So I shouted out to ask me any question about related to industrial design. And so it looks like I have about 16 comments, which probably means 16 questions, and then another 2 from another post I did. Okay, so the first one here coming from Carlos Eduardo Zadalana. All right, so just excuse my poor reading skills just because I have some self-diagnosed dyslexia. Okay, so what do you think about Microsoft Surface devices versus Apple MacBook for industrial design purposes? I love your videos. Thanks, man. I've learned a lot from you. Thanks a lot. Keep up the good work. Well, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate you and the kind words and also your question. So, Carlos, I know some people that actually use Microsoft Surfaces. You wouldn't think that they would be good just because of like how portable they are and how tablet-like they are, but I actually know about 3 or 4 industrial designers that actually use Microsoft or the Surfaces, and it seems really convenient too because they also have the pen, so you could also write directly on the screen itself, which is really cool, especially for like rendering. And so that would be really neat to do. Let me turn on some light. I think I need to brighten up the room. Oh, purple light. All right, let's see here. Boom. I don't know if that's actually made anything a little better. What's up, guys? I see you, Nestor, Savvy. What is up? Hey. And then Fazal. Okay, I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing your guys' name correctly, but what's up? Glad you guys are here. Just trying to reshoot this. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try to get to it. I'm actually trying to grow out my beard a little longer just to see what it would look like, but I feel like I need to shave it pretty soon. Okay. What's up, Nestor? Thanks a lot, man. For sure, I'm definitely going to be trying to make more videos, but for this, I'm going to be trying to answer some questions that are on my community tab. So if you guys want to go there, check out the community tab on my page. And then I'm going to be answering some of those questions on the Q&A. So let's see here. To answer Carlos's question, though, Apple, I personally use an Apple. I've used it throughout school. And what I did was I boot camped it. So what is boot camp is it's essentially Apple allows you to install Windows onto their computers. And so you partition the hard drive and you divide it, however many gigabytes you want on each, and then you install Windows on the other side. And then so when you restart your computer, you can actually use Windows, which means you can install SolidWorks, because that's pretty much the main program that's on Apple that we use is SolidWorks. Because I don't know if, yeah. Keyshot is definitely on Apple, but SolidWorks isn't. And obviously you can use Photoshop, Illustrator, all of the Adobe suites. So I've been using pretty much a MacBook Pro for the past couple of years now, and it works perfectly fine for me. But if you really, really want some, like, if you're the type of person that really cranks up your settings and like tries to do some crazy renderings, then I would suggest to maybe have some type of a render station that's a little more powerful. But Microsoft Surfaces are cool, but I would also say the same thing is another render station so that you could have something a little more powerful if you do need to, create a lot of renderings, because there's not a lot of horsepower behind the MacBooks and the Surfaces. Okay, so what's up? Let's see here. Looks like we got some questions. Hi, Jimmy. This is from Andrea. Hi, Jimmy. I study product design engineering. That's cool, but my sketch skills are a little poor, so could you please do some tutorials? Your videos are so inspirational. Thank you. Definitely, let me know what kind of like specifically what kind of sketching you want me to show, like in perspective or product drawing or, so just let me know specifically so I could actually target what you're looking for. All right, Fazal. Fazal says, I'm trying to get into industrial design. Which university and country would be the best? Personally, I would say, there's always the best, right? The best meaning like, let's say a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, the best. And then but then sometimes not everybody can buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a Mercedes or a Porsche. Sometimes the best is a little bit different. Sometimes the best is just what's near you, what's closest, what makes the most sense. So I would say personally that is because what I found is that it's not necessarily the school that you go to. Like all a school is you're hanging out with a lot of like-minded people. You're going to be given a lot of realistic, trying to be real projects that you have to, show that you have the skills to do it. They're going to teach you the skills on how to do it. And what you should do is literally just try to take as much as you possibly can out of it. And so if it's a somewhat decent school, it has a decent reputation, you can talk around and hear around if it's anywhere local, then I would say, just go ahead and do that. I'm the kind of person that just tells somebody like what makes the most sense. You don't have to go freaking fly out of state or whatever and do something so extreme, to really make it. If your end goal is just, landing a job and making it, then just go to any school that's really convenient that actually offers industrial design. Do some research, obviously, see what people say. Obviously, you don't want to be going to like a crazy school that doesn't have any reputation to it, So do some research, but I think that you should go with the most convenient kind of one and then just take the most out of it. And you never know what you're going to get. It's really up to you and how hard you try and how hard, you're going to work at it, because the school is not going to be everything. You got to really push yourself and also seek it as well. Let's see. Nestor, I'm a fashion major. Industrial design is a totally different perspective. For sure, definitely. I would say there's actually like some type of an overlap somewhat. Like there's products where kind of like a purse. Like if you're going to design a purse, usually industrial designers don't generally design, very high-end fashiony stuff. They usually design more mainstream type of things that are going to be made a lot and manufactured a lot. And so usually those are left up to the fashion designer. So I always kind of find it a little interesting to really look at products and be like, okay, industrial designers design that product. Engineers usually look like they design that product. Oh, and then like other people, fashion designers or, other people. It's just kind of interesting to me. Hello from Spain. What's up? Woo, Claudia's on. Woo, 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 woo. Can I show rendering on PC and by hands in deep? Can I show rendering on PC and by hands in deep? I have no idea. Can you? Oh, PC and can you in deep? Oh, show renderings. Okay. So the issue with showing you guys how to render and showing any kind of SolidWorks tutorials, the reason why I just haven't done it yet is because all of my recording screen software is on my Apple side, and then all of my KeyShot and SolidWorks are on my what do you call it, on my Windows side of my bootcamp computer, and so I don't have a lot of space on that. So when I try to record anything, it's just going to crash and it doesn't happen. I only can, do some very simple renderings. And so it's crazy. So that's pretty much the reason why. A lot of technical reasons. I should probably buy a new computer, but, I'm just always the type of person that says, if I don't really need it, I'm not going to buy it. So I think that the only way I can really do it, though, is to like set up a camera and then just point it and record the screen with my camera. But I don't know if I want to do it that way. But you know, if that's the only way I can do it, then maybe I'll think about it. I'll just try it once and see what happens. Can you damn Jimmy, your eyes are so red. Sleep well. I know, it's crazy. I need to put like clear eyes in or take a nap or something. What are the top 5 skills to learn for products industrial design? Okay, so top 5 skills to learn is nail your technical skills. That means learn how to sketch well. You know, not you don't have to be the best. Just like be able to you know, just put something down and be happy with it. You know, you don't have to be the best, but you know, be proficient. And then of course SolidWorks. You know, you don't have to be the best either. I'm not the best. There's a lot of things that I still have to learn, but if you can, you know, be able to pull off projects, make things look good with the skills that you do have, then you know that's the level where you should be. And you know, slowly you will learn over time how to be a little more once you start, you know, thinking about more complex things, and then your level will have to increase obviously to match that. So and then of course what do you call it, Keyshot, that's really easy. You know, not everybody doesn't really complain too much about rendering. Photoshop, that's a big one for me. So this is all technical skills, but then after you surpass the technical skills, you should really focus on really trying to figure out, okay, what are the best solutions I can take? You know, what are important processes that you need to go through in order to figure out and give you the best ideas and the best concepts. So usually for me, when I start developing concepts, I really like to do a lot of like product observing and viewing. So I have a folder where I literally keep all of the cool stuff that I find on the internet, and I look through it and I'm clicking through it, trying to like gather ideas on what this product is going to be. Usually, so at work, I'm given like a project, right? And the project is like, hey, Jimmy, can you design, like, let's say a next computer mice, you know, so I'm going to design a computer mouse. So I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to come up with the ideas? Where am I going to start, you know? And so what I usually like to do is, you know, I try to visualize, okay, well, what do I want it to look like? You know, I want it to look kind of like a car. So then, okay, well, maybe if I want to look at like a car, then I'll start looking at cars, and then I'll start like seeing certain aspects, certain details, certain lines that fade in, fade out, and then I'll try to apply that onto the form of a computer mouse. So that's pretty much my process, and I do that quite often. We can get into it deeper at some other time, but I need to start answering some more questions here. Okay, so I'm going to jump back onto the community tab and answer KRP's question. I want to know what exactly the product designers get as a job apart from consultancy service or startups. I mean, what do product designers has to do in a company? Like when a day starts, a company, then what works he or she is supposed to do? Okay, so it just seems like you want to kind of know on a day-to-day basis what industrial designers do. So for me specifically, and like this is a reoccurring thing for my other jobs too. So what usually happens is somebody assigns you a certain project. Okay, this somebody can either be your boss, it could be your supervisor, it could be a product manager. You know, so I work really closely with the product managers, and the product managers are the people that are in charge of what this product will need. They're in charge of the roadmaps of the certain type of products that they want to release throughout the year, you know? And so, and then they also have an idea of what that product will need, certain features, certain key features that will make it sellable in the market. So they are the ones that have this idea, okay? So they're telling me this. They're like, Jimmy, you know, I want this computer mouse, and it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be wireless, and it's gonna look really cool, you know, and it's gonna do this and that. And so I have to kind of really listen to what they are looking for, and then once I kind of like hear all of the requirements that this project needs, I will then start designing, building in all of these requirements. So then that's what I do. So then now it's kind of up to you and how you actually go about it. You know, now what is your process? how do you go about showing all of your concepts? Do you just maybe sketch a lot, you know? But you're mostly, I personally, I'm just sitting at my desk, and so I'm just trying to come up with these ideas. I have SolidWorks and I have T-Shot on my computer, so I'm just like SolidWorksing what I think it should look like, and then and then eventually I'll come up with, let's say, 4 different concepts. I'll show it to them, and then they'll be like, okay, we like that one, and let's go with this one. So then it's like plan A, plan B, and then if plan A falls through, then we'll go with plan B, type of a thing. And that's kind of how it works. So then I'm just, showing up on a daily basis, and I'm like, okay, well, I have this project. Where did I leave off yesterday? And I'm going to continue it, So then I guess the idea is really kind of determining your process and how you go about actually developing and making this product come to life, So that's your job to really discover. But that's always different for everybody. Okay, so continuing on, this is from Khan Fahad. Which is best book for better understanding of design? So this is going to be the title to this live YouTube video. So there's a couple of books here that I think are really, really cool. I want to show you guys. Of course, the coolest book being the Design Life Sketchbook. Booyah! Have you guys grabbed yours yet? Not yet. If you haven't, definitely go ahead and grab one of those. Okay, so this is one of the books that I used to look through when I was taking a lot of sketching classes and a lot of like rendering classes, the ones that you have to use marker and stuff. And so it just has really cool like drawings that I would really love looking at, because like you can see all of the different contour lines that they use. And I love this because you're able to like read the form very well. I love looking at form. So just look like something like this. Like, look how clear you can see that form, this triangular front head part, and then the cylindrical part, and then how it, gets cut here and underneath, and it creates this certain end piece, and then the cable coming out. Like, it's so cool how you're able to read all of that. Instead of it being just so like 2-dimensional looking, it looks very 3D. And so I really like drawing with contour lines, which is mainly how you're able to achieve that. There's this really cool sketch that I always like looking at, because I'm like, dude, whoever sketched that was freaking pro skills right here. So this is like looks like a motorboat engine. And I've always looked at this sketch and I was like, dude, this is intense. I really love looking at this part here. It's like so round, and how you can just see the fillets, how they drew in the fillets. So then I was like, maybe I should start doing that. So then, and then you see the center line, and then how it kind of sucks in and tapers in. I'm like, dude, that's so freaking cool. Whoever freaking sketched this is super pro. And here's like a clean version, just the sketch. And I guess that's the actual thing right there. That's awesome. Yeah, so this book is cool. So this one is called Sketching. That's easy. You can find this on Amazon, no problem. It's actually a pretty easy book. So Sketching, Drawing Techniques for Product Designers by Koos, Ians, and Rosalind Struer. Okay, I'm terrible at reading people's names. But then there's also a really cool thing too. These magazines here, have you guys ever seen them? They're innovation magazines, and they just have like really cool product design type of stuff. It's really, really neat. Boom. So definitely check this out too. I really like looking at those. One sec. Ooh, my roommate just got home. All right, gotta close the door. Didn't want to bother him. He's also an industrial designer too. I graduated with him. So let's see. Continuing on. So those are really cool. I have another one here. I want to show this. This is really cool too. Look how thick this one is. But you could get like a subscription to these, and they just show like really cool stuff. just like a lot of products that kind of like are really celebrated in a way. That's craziness right there. Modular camera. Anyways, those are really cool. Definitely check those out. There's other books too. There's like a lot of other books that I bought, but I just never really took a lot out of them just because it was so wordy. I don't know. Just as industrial designers, I think we like more visual type stuff and really observing it and looking at it rather than just, reading something that's so much reading. It's kind of difficult for us, you know what I'm saying? But I really like listening to audiobooks. Audiobooks are cool. I learn a lot from audiobooks and just people from YouTube. Okay, so let's see. Continuing on. This is by Katzinariti. How did you know that industrial design was a career that you wanted to pursue? So, I knew because I think that I believe in this thing called being a natural industrial designer, meaning that if you had tendencies and you did certain characteristics of industrial design without even knowing if it was a career, then you're kind of like a natural industrial designer. I think that a lot of people that usually like to end up going down like art and fine arts, like maybe they could have been really really good industrial designers, but they just didn't know that that was a career out there. Like when I first started, I thought that, since I liked making stuff with my hands and I liked drawing a lot, that I was an artist. I thought that was the only route you can take. Um and so I just thought, well, art is kind of like really, like, I don't know if I could make money off of that. It's like that weird thing, and you'll hear that a lot with industrial designers. They'll say like, though I didn't want to do art just because it doesn't seem like you can make a lot of money, but industrial design seems kind of like you can draw a lot and you can do a lot of artsy stuff, but also, have a real world application to it. So that's very true. So that's a lot of the reason why I did it. But then when I really discovered what it is, I was like, I'm not a freaking artist. I don't want to be like making sculptures and stuff like that. I want to be actually creating awesome looking products for people to use. And I've always really been into looking at products. When I was young, I would just look at a car and I would just be like, whoa. Like I would just look at the lines of it and look at the form and I'll be like, that's so crazy. I wish I could do that. And so I always wanted to be a transportation designer, car designer. And then learned that the only way I could possibly ever be a car designer if I went to art center, which is really expensive. Didn't want to spend that much money because I ended up saving a ton of money, working really, really hard. And I just thought I worked way too hard for this money to give it away. So then I was like, okay, well, what else do I do now? And then that's when I discovered product design. And when I discovered product design, I was like, dude, it's kind of like designing cars, which is what I always wanted to do. But for everything else, you could design purses and shoes and furniture and soft goods, all kinds of different stuff. Whatever product you can think of, a product designer has designed it. So I thought that was really really cool, and so I ended up going to a state school, which is so much cheaper and probably a very very good decision on my part, not going to a school that was going to cost me probably over $200,000 to a school where I ended up paying probably like $3,000 total to attend, which is super crazy. The most money I probably spent while going to school was paying for rent. Everything goes to rent because you got to move away from your house and then you got to find somewhere to live. And so you got to rent out a room or an apartment or something like that. So, but as far as like paying for school, that's really covered a lot by financial aid if you are qualified for that. Let's see here. So continuing on, I don't know, let's see. So that's kind of how I knew I wanted to be a product designer. I know that I always loved drawing stuff, looking at form, making stuff. That's just how my brain works. I like doing that on the side for fun. Like, some people, they like to go rock climbing, or they like to, I don't know, play a game, play video games. But sometimes when I think about what's fun, I'm just like, I want to kind of like sketch this thing that I have an idea of. I want to try to draw a motorcycle tank, or something. Okay, so what do industrial design schools look for in a portfolio? So this is going to be a huge question that I get quite often, and it's understandable because a lot of you guys haven't even entered into school yet, and when you are actually trying to get into school, they're asking for a portfolio. So then now you're like, oh my God, what is this portfolio thing? Like I don't even know what it is. And I remember when I first entered into school, I was like, what is this word portfolio? Well, get used to it. If you want to be an industrial designer, get used to the word portfolio, because this portfolio is going to be your pretty much the work that you will show that will define how good you are to other employees, and that's when they'll hire you. So you want to make sure that this portfolio is good. But here's the thing: is that since you haven't entered in through school yet, you haven't got accepted and gone through your education yet. Obviously, you're going to be learning a lot in school, so they're not expecting you to know everything initially when they are asking for this portfolio. What they want to see is how much you care. And so they don't want to see you like submitting a portfolio late, because that's immediately like it's already kind of showing like, dude, come on. And so just showing that you care, making sure that everything looks organized and presentable. So I'm pretty sure you have probably like a folder somewhere of all of the work that you've done, of all these sketches that you've done, right? And maybe a little folder that you flip through. But that's pretty much your portfolio. Like if somebody asks you, hey, what's your hobby? And you said, I like to draw. And they said, oh, you do? Can I see? And then you would show them your work, right? So this is essentially your portfolio. So so instead of just having like a pile of sketches, you would have to make it more presentable. So in order for you to make it more presentable, maybe you'll put it in like a sleeve notebook, like one of those Itoya sketchbook thingies, or what do you call it? Those portfolio plastic thingies that you guys might have seen in my videos. And you put in one of those things, maybe you have a couple of slides that kind of just explain what it is. And that will be a portfolio piece. And I just say, do your best, like maybe draw some things that are really related to what you are interested in. Maybe do some more projects, more ideas, and make them kind of thorough in a way, and then show that. But just literally do your best. They're not expecting the world out of you. They just want to see that you care and that you can submit it on time and you can meet all of their pretty much their restrictions. Like you really gotta, when you're gonna do anything in life, like you always should focus on what are the requirements first. And you must, I always try to nail all of those requirements while also trying to produce something good. So make sure to always, fulfill requirements, because if you don't fulfill requirements, most of the time you are going to be immediately disqualified. Like make sure you get it in before this date. And so make sure that you do it, even well before that date. And then just make sure that you show your work in a presentable way with your name clearly and maybe some description of some of the work, so that they're not just looking at random artwork, that they can see like why you did it and what you're trying to solve and stuff like that. And show a couple different projects, maybe show like 3 or 4 different ideas that you had that you've drawn out, and draw them out. Maybe have a couple different views, front, side view, maybe a really cool hero shot, and then maybe a couple of competitors, throw them in there, and maybe talk about why those aren't good and why yours is better. So just come do that. What I like to do too is I go on Behance, and then I just look at a lot of the stuff that the people post on there. And it can get really overwhelming because their work is really, really cool sometimes, right? And so, but what I like to take from that is really just what are they actually trying to show? Like what are they actually trying to show me as a viewer? So then I would just be like, okay, it looks like they have a cover page. All right, so they're trying to show the name of it and what it is. And then, oh, look, they're showing competitors. And then, oh, look, they're showing technologies that this new product will be. And then, oh, look, a couple of sketches, showing some ideation. So then that's kind of tells you as a designer, maybe I should show these certain slides as well in my portfolio. And so that's what I do a lot too, is I just kind of take these ideas. Oh, look at, they put the product in a context, meaning like if you designed a skateboard, you know, oh, look, they drew somebody riding a skateboard. These are called lifestyle shots. Lifestyle shots are really showing the, not just showing the product itself, but a day in the life of how it's going to be used in a way, you know. Like instead of just showing a rendering of a phone, you'll show it a rendering with it on somebody's face like this, you know, or a rendering of this in somebody's hand, you know. And that's called a lifestyle shot. So there's a lot of different ways to show just one idea. So I think that's what you should do, you know, just come up with a single product idea, and then just come up with these different kind of angles and ways to show off that single product, and do that for about 3 different products, and there you go. There's your portfolio. Okay, let's move on. So this is a question by Evie. I think that's a girl. And she says, what do industrial design schools look for in a portfolio for, oh, wait, that's the one that I actually answered. So next question. Jesus, Jimmy, any idea on what local or better suited to bring myself up as an industrial designer? Currently situated in Washington, but I'd go anywhere. I'd better suit a career in industrial design. Ideas on what locals are better? What locals are better suited to bring myself up as an I would say Southern California and Northern California, or I guess mid California, Northern California is very, very good if you do live in Washington. There's just, you know, a lot of industry, so that means there's a lot of jobs. It's kind of expensive, but there are jobs if you are good. And there's a lot of schools as well. There's private schools, and there are a lot of state schools, and you know, so I went to a state school, so those don't cost as much money as well. But if you are coming from out of state, I guess you would have to pay a high state school. But honestly, guys, a lot of people ask me questions on like which school is best. Like for real, I only went to one school, so the only school I know is the school I went to. And so I wish I could help, but like literally I'm super biased, and I'll always say Cal State Long Beach is the best school because that's the school I went to, you know. It was a really good school, and I didn't have to pay a lot for it, and there was a really good people in it that pushed me and got me to be as good as I possibly could. So it doesn't matter which school you go to, as long as it's a reputable, decent school, you know, take as much as you possibly can out of that by, you know, challenging yourself, taking on all different opportunities, and joining a lot of competitions, putting, you know, just putting your skills to the test really, and focusing on what you can improve on and get better at. And just being really smart about it, being really like deliberate about it, put a lot of thought into it. You know, don't be lazy about it, and you'll be fine. Like just take as much as you can out of school. It's a good place to learn, but you know, don't expect it to be like giving you everything. And you know, like a degree is all you need. You know, like it's really up to you and what you make of it. Okay, so Crimson 11 asks, I'm a professional UX designer. Cool. And recently learned that I could get a master's in either architecture or industrial design. With my current degree, I'm trying to decide which direction to go, as I understand architects need and can be licensed, but not industrial designers. Is it common for those with architectural degrees to become industrial designers? Ooh, that is a crazy question, but you know, I can't really answer that question for you if you want to be an architect or if you want to be an industrial designer. But I would say, you know, if you are more interested in larger scale things, buildings, interiors, exterior buildings, maybe you're interested in construction, then I would say maybe go the architecture route if that's more of your interest. If you want to be, you know, actually specifically designing products, maybe it's something that you specifically want to do, like consumer electronics or cars or furniture, medical devices, you know, like whatever it is. Maybe you have an idea for a product, then maybe you should try industrial design. But you know, that's something that I can't really answer for you, but really think about it and just pick one way and really commit to it. What I find is that a lot of people, when they are stuck with a dilemma and they're trying to really figure out a decision, and they're really on the board, they don't really know which one they should pick, and then when they finally pick one, they're not really fully on board with it. And then that just means that you never really picked one, but you're just going with something. And so that means that your actions that you're taking in this direction isn't going to be really true, isn't going to be really like determined. You really have to be like, okay, I think this is it. I don't care if it's the worst decision, but I'm going to commit to it and I'm just going to make it work. So that's what I think. That's usually kind of my style is, like, I don't know exactly which one is better, but I'm just going to go with my gut, and then I'm going to commit to it, and I'm going to figure out if this is, going to be good or not. But don't be shaky with it. Like when people always just end up switching majors, it's like, dude, like maybe you should have not gone to college yet, and then figure out what you actually want to do, then go to college, because I find that so many people, they end up going to college for so long just because they end up switching majors and they don't know what to do, and they were probably better off not going to college and just waiting it out for a couple years, because college is expensive. You got to move out, you got to pay for rent, you got to freaking pay for tuition, all your books and stuff like that. So it's a lot of money to be just going and not really having a specific goal, or target to really aim for. Okay, you have a couple of different stuff going on here too. Is it common in architects? Yes, definitely. My cousin is an architect and he isn't licensed, or I haven't talked to him in years, but at the time when he graduated, he wasn't licensed, but he was doing a lot of kind of like entry-level architecture work. And then I think that once you do get your license, then it's opened up to other kind of possibilities. Whereas industrial designers, we really don't need a specific license to design products. We are professionals, and we know how to develop products and turn them from ideas to reality. So that's pretty much what we do. And if you think about it, a lot of people have ideas for products, so they can always hire you and be like, hey, I have an idea. Can you make some sketches and concepts for me? And then you can use your sketching skills and your research skills and your CADing skills. And eventually, when you are a professional, you'll start understanding more of the manufacturing side. What I find is that school, they don't teach you a lot of the manufacturing side, because you don't ever reach that level in your projects. You always get it up into the prototyping phase, where you're just kind of 3D printing stuff or painting stuff, painting foam and whatnot, but you're never really taking it obviously to a supplier and having them manufacture it and stuff like that for you. So they don't usually teach that part in school, but you're for sure going to learn that kind of aspect on the job. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to go on to the next question here. Aishan Taqueen. Hello, Jimmy. I am a B designer in automobile design. Oh, that's really cool. Student first year, and I want to know that how to get into a good transportation design company. What is how good one should be? How good the portfolio? Okay, first of all, if I knew this, I would be probably doing it myself for sure. So I cannot answer that for you. But what I can say is, if I were to actually commit myself and go about this, what I would do is I would probably try to communicate and talk to a lot of different. Okay, so it's a little different for me because I live in Southern California and there are a lot of different car companies around here. Honda is about 30 minutes away from me. Ford is around here. There's a lot of different car companies around here. Hyundai too. And so what I would do is I would probably just show up to all of their headquarters and kind of just ask around. Maybe I could get a tour and meet the designers somehow and try to build a relationship with them. And then I would kind of maybe just like show them some of my old works, maybe set up some type of a meeting and just see where it goes from there, not hoping too much. But maybe you could get a job, not specifically as a car designer, but eventually try to, get your foot in the door with the company and then try to weasel your way into the design aspect, try to make it work for you. But that's maybe an approach I would take, but there are people that went to school specifically for transportation design that only do transportation, only sketch and only draw that don't ever become the transportation designer. It's crazy. And a lot of it has to do with just the people you know and politics and stuff like that. So it seems like a really dream job, I think, but it's just a lot of politics is what I've heard. I don't want to steer you away from your dreams, but this is just what I've learned. And I personally think it's more fun to be designing actual products and stuff like that. But if I knew that answer, Sean, I would totally tell you. But I don't know exactly how to get your foot in the door with transportation. It seems like a very close knit group, and it really matters on the people and a lot of it kind of has to do with the school you go to, because let's say if you did go to art center is very big in teaching automotive design, and so they have a lot of really famous and big car designers come out of that school. And I know that a lot of students that do come out of that school, they still don't get like transportation design jobs. They end up getting either industrial design jobs or something similar related to it. But it's kind of like being an NBA. Like I remember it was very discouraging when I wanted to be a car designer, and I read like an article that said like wanting to be a car designer is the same statistically as becoming a NBA player or an NFL player, one of those. And I was just like, dude, that seems like some intense stuff that I don't know I want to actually do. Like, do I really want to be a car designer? uh, so moving on, let's see. What is the most difficult part of your job? That is a hard question. The most difficult part of my job. As far as the technical aspects of it, I'm pretty good at the ones that I am good at. There are a lot of processes that I still haven't quite mastered yet. Like when you're in the real world, you're going to be doing certain stuff that you never did when you were a student. Like, hey, we want to design our product similar to this product, and it's very organic. How do we do this? And then how do we get it into CAD? And you need to come up with a very efficient way to do that. And so it's like, how do you do that? I don't know. So then you have to do research. You have to figure out how to do it, And so I would say that a lot of it has to do with that, but it's not necessarily hard, but I just know that it's going to be a long learning time, in order for me to really master the skill of, let's say, reverse engineering. So at my work, we're starting to try to get into 3D scanning and then trying to convert that into a CAD file, which then we can manipulate and change. And so before, when you're a student, all you do is you have an idea for a product, right? And then you start CADing it, but then you start making a lot of compromises depending on if you can actually make that in CAD or not. And so you can make all those changes because you're the master of that project. You're the boss, right? But when you are trying to figure something out in the real world, then you can't make these compromises. You need to, have a CAD model of a computer mouse that you can manipulate and change and tweak and stuff like that, and then also be able to 3D print it, and how do you CAD something so organic like that? And then so you need to develop your CAD skills. So it gets pretty crazy. But I don't ever think of it as difficult. I just more think of it as, okay, this is going to be something that I need to start practicing and learning and getting better at. But that's pretty much it, I would say. Keep up the good work. Thanks a lot, Nick. So this is by Nick Hunter. So Nick Hunter's question is, in your experience, what is the most important thing design schools don't teach you in prep for career as an industrial designer? So I said this earlier, but it's pretty much manufacturing. They try to teach you manufacturing processes, but when it comes to actually going about and preparing your CAD files for manufacturing, dealing with suppliers, trying to find the best supplier, getting quotes, like how does all of that work? They don't really teach you that kind of stuff, but I don't really think that's such a big deal. You're going to learn it once you finally get that job, and you're going to learn it as a professional. Your education doesn't end at school. School is going to teach you what it's going to teach you, and then you're going to learn even more even after that. What I see is that a lot of people, they graduate school and then they just think that they're over and they're done, right? But it's actually, this is the real test. This is the real beginning. You're a professional. Now you got to put your skills on to the test on a day-to-day basis, 8 hours a day. Like and you're going to be learning even way more. I've learned so much just the year being out of school now than I learned in school. So school is great. I mean, they're going to teach you what they're going to teach you, and you're just going to learn even more when you're out of school. Okay, let me jump back into the livey live, because I've been neglecting you guys here. Ooh, a lot of questions. Okay, I'm gonna be scrolling up and trying to find where I left off. Okay, damn, Jimmy, your eyes. Okay, what are the top 5 skills? Wow, thank you so much for answering. Sketch motorcycle helmet in perspective and give it a color study and light. Ooh, a helmet. Helmets are really, really cool. Let me try that. I'll definitely try that. I'll keep it on the back of my mind, because I have been wanting to do some more Design Life sketchbook videos, where I just set the camera up and I just start sketching. And definitely grab yourselves a Design Life sketchbook if you haven't already, guys. Booyah, right there. These are just really great. How I use this sketchbook is really, I have an idea, I sketch it, I flip the page, and I do something different, and I flip the page. Like, you ever use a sketchbook where you feel like you have to draw a masterpiece on every sketch? I hated that. I hate when you feel like you have to draw an awesome sketch. But this, I literally just use as a notepad, as a sketch, and that's what a sketchbook should be for a designer. This is specifically for a designer. The reason is you don't want to be limited by wanting and feeling like you need to draw a masterpiece. Sketching is a tool for us to put our thoughts down on the paper. It doesn't have to look pretty as long as we figured out what we need to figure out. Like, does this curve make sense? What can this front end possibly look like? And you just do it really fast. You don't want to feel like you have to draw something pretty. And I think that this is what this sketchbook promotes. Anyways, grab those on designlifebrand.com. Okay, let's see here. So I'll remember that the next time I try to figure out how to sketch something, I will think about drawing a helmet for you, Andrea. Let's see, motorcycle helmet. All right, I'll try to remember. I'll try to remember that, but let me know, remind me. Also, a half of my message is not shown. Oh no. What would make a complete portfolio before submitting to any university, as would digital portfolio work or printed? Okay, so these are questions that you shouldn't determine yourself, okay? You should definitely figure out what are the requirements for what this school is looking for. They will probably will probably have it listed somewhere. We want a digital portfolio. We want a printed portfolio. These are the stuff that you don't come up with. They need to tell you how they want it. So figure it out. And then definitely, like I said, always follow requirements first. Always hit those guidelines, okay? Always hit those first, and then do some stuff even past that if you want. But don't ever not do a guideline or a requirement, because then you're not doing your job. You're not doing what you're trying to do. Okay, what would make a complete portfolio? So I would say also making a complete portfolio, for me at least, but always remember to hit those guidelines. But I would say for me, a complete portfolio would be about 3 projects that are thorough. Thorough meaning, maybe some sketches of your idea, maybe a page explaining why, maybe a page showing a couple of ideas, solutions, what it possibly could have looked like, and then what do you call it? And then maybe a hero shot, like something that you markered with and then so just have this with one product, and have 3 different products with all of this information on each individual product, and then so have 3 of those and have it be kind of similar to each other. If you want to do consumer electronics, maybe all 3 of them should be related somehow to consumer electronics or what you're interested in. And then also have another portfolio where you're just kind of having a lot of miscellaneous work. Like maybe you did some photography, or you did some video editing, or you did, some model making and some furniture building. Have that in there, because industrial designers, we do all of that stuff too. Industrial design is not only limited to CAD and Keyshot. Like there's a lot of stuff that industrial designers do, and the skills that we actually have. So it's always good to show that, and it shows that you care, and it also shows that this is cool for you. This is something that you've done in the past and you like doing it. you're that type of person. I love SolidWorks. Here in Spain, they use Blender, CAD, and Illustrator, though. It's true. So the best advice one of my CAD professors said was, he was showing us all these different CAD programs, and then I just asked him, I was like, which one is the best one? Which one should I learn, right? And what he said was, well, what you got to do is figure out what you want to do, you know, the field that you want to go down. Like, let's say if you wanted to be a car designer, or if you wanted to just be a general industrial designer, or if you want to be, you know, a furniture designer, to do some research onto what they're actually using. So, hey, that person has a job I want. Let me ask them what CAD program they're using. They'll probably tell you, I'm using SolidWorks, or I'm using Alias, I'm using, you know, Blender. Then try to learn that one, you know, because that's going to be probably the standard one that that area or that region or that industry will use, you know, and that will be the most efficient way, because there's no real true best CAD software. It's really the ones that your industry that you're interested in is using. That's the one you should be using. That's the one you should be learning. If you are generally just a normal general industrial designer, that's probably in America, I would say SolidWorks is the program that almost every industrial designer knows how to use. Okay, dude, it's already 50 minutes, man, and I haven't gone through anywhere close to answering all these questions. I'm trying to improve my perspective drawing. Awesome. Can you recommend me a good book for beginner level? I would say, I don't know, like I don't know if it's the best way to learn perspective on a very fundamental level, because when they're teaching you perspective in a way, they're showing you how to do a grid, and they're showing you all these T-squares and crazy stuff. But I feel like you can learn how to draw in perspective by just looking at some people's sketches. So like, let me pull one up here and just kind of show this real quick. Real quick. So here's a good sketch right here. So you see this? So all you have to do is, if you're going to be drawing a box, right, that this line and this line, they always have to be looking like they converge, as if you continue drawing them, they would touch at some point. You see that? You see how it looks like an A shape or a V shape? So you always want to do that when you're drawing parallel lines like this. So this line and this line are looking like they're eventually going to converge. And so really just practice that, you know, look at these type of sketches, like really observe them and look at them. Like, I feel like this is how I learned the most. I didn't really learn how to draw in perspective. I kind of just learned the rules of perspective, and then just keep trying to practice how to draw something like this. I just kept looking at something like this, and then I kept drawing it over and over and over and over again until it looked correct. You know, proportions, drawing in these certain contour lines. You see all these extra lines that really helps people when they're viewing this to understand the form. And so I just love looking at stuff like this and then recreating it myself. And then eventually, when you become good enough for that, then you will start designing your own shapes and products that you come up with yourself, but, you know, using the same rules and the same drawing techniques. But, you know, what I like to do is I just like to observe, look at it, and then replicate it, and then eventually do the same thing, but with my own ideas instead of copying it from something else. So this book is really cool. It's called Sketching by Drawing Techniques for Product Designers. So this book is really cool. You can find it on Amazon. It's very common book for industrial designers. Okay, so let's see here. Jimmy, do you use Rhinoceros? I do not. I don't need to. Pretty much SolidWorks is all I need to use. But if your career that you want to go down uses it, then definitely use it. And also understand that if you just want to learn how to use it for fun, know that you are trying to learn it for fun, you know. But as far as applying it on a day-to-day basis and using it, you know, to show off ideas on a regular basis, like there's other programs that I don't really know anybody that uses Rhinoceros as their primary program or CAD program. Hey, Jimmy, can you talk a little about more traditional industrial design career versus a more entrepreneurial and independent routines? Okay, yeah, for sure. Um, so the typical routine is you could either work for a company or you could work for a consultancy. And you will, if you work for a company, you'll be specializing in whatever that company is creating. Like, let's say if they're making lighting stuff, you would be making a lot of lighting stuff and you'll be designing new ideas and stuff like that for them, right? If you work for a consultancy, people will be bringing in projects to the company and you will be a part of helping developing all of those products. And so all of these ideas, they can be anywhere across the board. You know, it's not just like whatever that company is making, but it's going to be ideas from everybody from in different industries and all different products. So that's more of a traditional route of an industrial designer. And so if you want to be more of the entrepreneurial side, then you'll start thinking more of figuring out how can you utilize your skills in a business sense in order to make money yourself. Okay, so a very simple way to do this is offering your own services and just kind of doing it as a freelancer, you know, so other people will come to you and you will be kind of what is called self-employed, and you will just do the work and they'll pay you and there's no boss or no middleman, you know what I'm saying? And you are the person in charge, and it's not that they're your boss now, your clients are your boss. Your clients are going to be your clients, you know, and so it's more of a partnership in a way. I have the skills, you have the money, let's work together, you know, so let's make this transaction. And so so that's more the entrepreneur side. And then of course you can always design, manufacture, sell your product. You can throw it up on Kickstarter. You can maybe invest in products, you know, a lot of different things. Entrepreneur, what I've learned the past year or so is that there's so many different avenues to take and different ways to make money. So it's kind of really just up to you. But, you know, entrepreneur is not for everybody, that's for sure. I can guarantee it. It's really hard work, and just, you know, like everything that Claudia and I've done with Design Life, it's a lot of work. A lot of work, guys, and a lot you got to really, you know, make sure that you have set up, or else things can go bad. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to jump back into the community tab because we need to get through these questions. There's so many good people here that answered questions that I haven't gone to yet. Okay, so how do you make a portfolio? So I've talked about portfolios. A lot of people ask, how do you pretty much become an engineer, or how do you become an industrial designer if you are another career, right? So let's say for Miles here, he's a mechanical engineer and he wants to be an industrial designer. So he wants to know, how do you make a portfolio? So I would say you have to, first, you have to really do some research on what are the differences between mechanical engineers and industrial designers. And then you have to learn what specific, because then this will kind of show you what specifically are industrial designers and what do we do and what are we trying to achieve. You know what I'm saying? And so what I say, the best way to go about it is just throw yourself into our world, go on to Behance and really just look at all those portfolios, just look at everything and see how they do things, see the certain shapes that they use, see how they present things, see what matters to them most. Is it crispy renderings? Is it making something look really cool, even though it doesn't maybe make the most sense, you know, maybe it's not the most ergonomic, but it just looks really cool, you know? And then, so then you have to think either, can you do that too? Are you interested in doing that? Or maybe you're really not, you know, because maybe you are just an engineer and you just only want to be an engineer but if you really want to be an industrial designer, when you go on Behance, that stuff should be very inspirational to you. Yeah, every time I go there, it's very inspirational to me and I just want to create more work. So, and if it doesn't, then maybe, you know, maybe it's not the right path. Okay, visual communication. Students can become product designers. Visual communication students, yes, they can. Let's see, do you make models at work yourself? If so, are they low-res test sketch models only, or do you make nice final models? Okay, so I do not make models at work. I made a lot of models when I was in school still, but I do not make any models. And the reason is because uh, you usually leave all that stuff to the professionals. So as an industrial designer, it's good for us to know how to make models, but you never really need to make a model all the way up into a pristine look unless that's the category of industrial design you want to enter down. So if you want to be a prototyper, a maker, a model maker, my professor Matthias, he's a model maker, and that's all he does is he makes other people's ideas and he makes models of them. So those are professionals and that's what they do. So we're industrial designers. Our main goal is to solve problems and to help develop the product. And so as far as specific stuff, like specifically sketching, you don't do that. Sketching in a way is you only do that for yourself. You only do it to figure it out. Depends on where you're at. Somebody said, what about automotive design? I would say for automotive design, you probably need to know how to sketch a lot and be really, really good at that. But for general industrial design, just like ID in general, you're designing products, plastic stuff, injection molded stuff that's going to be manufactured a lot. You don't need to know how to sketch very well. I'm sure most people just jump straight into SolidWorks. And you only use sketching for your own kind of purposes to figure stuff out. Okay. So I just got to breeze through these questions real quick. I want to study industrial design course, but I'm not sure if this course is right for me or not. How do I decide? Honestly, I think that if you don't know if something is right for you, then it's not for you, because that's clearly signs that it's not. Like the real definition for me is when something is right for you is when you have discovered whatever it is and your mind locks onto it and you just keep wanting to do that on and on and on and on, right? So for me, when I look at really, really cool products, I love looking at them. I love looking at the form. I love looking at how the person developed that idea and came up with that cool looking form. How did they even do it? Like I would never come up with that idea myself. So I'm very fascinated by that. And so that's how I know that that's me. And that's when I discover industrial design, I'm like, that's what everything that I've always thought about is, and how I can put it to use and monetize it and create it and make it my career. So if you don't know if it's right for you, then learn what it is and then see if all of that stuff really, really, really interests you. And if it doesn't interest you, then I would say it's not right for you, and you want to really do something, you want to really double down on what you are interested in and what you're passionate about, because that's when you're able to do your best work. And so if you don't really know if it's right for you, then it's probably not for you, because that's not good signs. It's kind of like when you walk into a showroom and you see a car and it doesn't quite look right to you, it's kind of like, nah, even though it might have everything good about it, even though it might be shiny and pretty and whatever, if it doesn't appeal to you, it doesn't appeal to you. And so you want to walk into a room and be like, holy crap, that's the car for me. That's the one I want. Dude, that's the most beautiful car I've ever seen in my life. Kind of like that with your career path. Like, wow, that seems like a really cool career path. That's always something that I've always thought about and really been interested in. And I didn't know that it was a career that was possible, but now that I do, I'm totally going to do it. That's kind of like how I personally feel and how you should feel, because you're going up against people that do feel this way, that are really passionate about it and really want to do it and do their best and be the best, and so you're going to be competing with these people, so you also want to feel that same way. And if you don't, maybe it's not the right path for you, because industrial design is pretty what is the word? Competitive. All right, I'm gonna get some water and I'll be right back. My tan looks like it's getting somewhat better. I'm not peeling and ashing anymore as I was last week when I got super sunburnt in Orlando. Okay, so I think we're almost through it, guys. Oh my goodness, it's already over an hour. All right. I have not a lot of options for industrial design study. I live and wondered if you think combining an auto Desk Fusion 360 certification along with a graphics design degree will set me up on an appropriate pathway for product design. In no, I know it's not ideal, but all the realistic due to location and affordability. Yeah, I mean, I would say go ahead and do it and learn those skills and try to really calibrate your portfolio into an industrial design portfolio, and then obviously try to apply for the industrial design jobs. Um, but if you don't get it, it's okay because I'm sure you can find a job just being a graphics designer. Graphics design, it's its own career. It's its own legitimate career that you can do. If you know the skills, then go ahead and do that. So, that's a kind of safety net in a way. And I'm pretty sure somebody will hire you just because you know how to use Fusion 360. I'm sure there's some industry that really uses Fusion 360 a lot. So if you master that program, like, you could probably find a job with those. So those two are good to aim for, and then try to calibrate your portfolio to be a industrial design portfolio and try to get those jobs and see where it goes. Just try to apply everywhere and see kind of like what your options are, the ones that actually hit. Okay, so for this thread, this is going to be the last question. Do you have any experience with Adobe Illustrator? I want to get into shoe design, and this is the program to use. So I do have experience with Adobe Illustrator. So mainly the most used programs I use is Illustrator, Photoshop, Keyshot, SolidWorks. These four programs, probably on a daily basis, I use these. Not as much Illustrator because I'm more of a Photoshop person. I feel like you're either one or the other, right? You're either really, really pro at Illustrator or you're really, really pro at Photoshop, and they're kind of similar, but then they have their differences as well. Obviously, one is vector and one is pixel based. I'm more of a Photoshop person, and so I really, really like using Photoshop. I mean, these are just programs, though. Like these are programs that help you visualize your idea, but it's not about the program. It's whatever process you want to use, whatever one you think is best, and then or whichever one the industry calls for, and so that's the program to use. But for shoe design, I have a buddy that does shoe design, and he uses a lot of Photoshop too. Not a lot of CAD for him. So yeah, I mean, Photoshop, Illustrator, they're very common programs, and those are also ones that they teach you in design school. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into the other list, and there's gonna be two more questions here. So how do you make a portfolio in mechanical engineering, not industrial design? How do you become a product designer if you're not an industrial designer? Okay, so I would, it's really hard to, just because you probably won't be able to land like company jobs because they'll probably want you to have some type of a BS degree in industrial design or mechanical engineering. There's a lot of job openings out there that's open to both mechanical engineers and industrial designers. And so if you are a mechanical engineer, you can get that similar job as an industrial designer, and then try to like push that job into more of an industrial design job. Like maybe spend a little bit more time on the design of the product rather than the engineering. I don't know. Like just if that's what your style and that's what you want to do, then that's how you operate and you work. So maybe apply for the jobs that ask for, like if you have a mechanical engineer or an industrial design or a similar background or degree, then you can apply for this job. Try to take those ones, because they're looking for industrial designers too, and so they want our kind of flavor, to that kind of position. And I think that's probably your best way to go about it, other than just completely revamping and starting a portfolio and really trying to make it a very industrial design portfolio. Okay, and then the next and last question is, I want to know what product designers get to job apart from a consultancy service or a startup. I want to know what exactly product designers get as a job apart from consultancy or a startup. I mean, what do product designers do in a company, like when they start a company? Oh, I answered this question already. Okay, so if another option you can do is you can be just a model maker. You can, if that's really what you want to do, you can prototype all day, you can 3D print, you can learn how to CNC, and you will be a fabricator, as we call it, you know. And a lot of industrial designers, they go down this path. I know a couple of people from my school went down more of that path. And then you could be a graphics designer. I know some people that do a lot of graphics design work being an industrial designer. So that's another path. You could be a cadder, where you're only CADing. Literally, you're just CADing. You're interpreting people's drawings, and you're making it in 3D. You know, so there's a lot of different careers. There's a lot of different skills when it comes to industrial design. So you could find yourself in a lot of different career paths. Okay, so that is about it. Oh my goodness, I am tired. I'm gonna finish it off with checking out the live stream chat. So currently in industrial design school, I want to try to expand my portfolio over the summer a applying to placement next year. Any advice on what bigger industrial design consultancies are looking for? They're looking for some high level stuff. You know, big level industrial design consultancies are looking for some top notch industrial designers who can create a variety of different products and make them look good. And especially if you have one in mind, if you have a company in mind, I would say to calibrate your portfolio and your style and your projects that you're going to do in school for that company. And so when you finally apply for that company, that they're going to be like, hey, it looks like you're perfect for the job. You do exactly what we like to do and what we tend to do, you know? So you kind of increase your chances that that company will like you because you're similar to them. So, but there, you know, if you're talking about generalities, you're just looking to be in a design consultancy, then I would say, you know, just have very clean looking, very nice looking products. Consultancies usually tend to deal with home good products, you know, in like random store products like foldable pet carriers and electronic candles, you know, so random products like that. And usually not something specific like a computer or like a camera or, you know, like something or a drone. Usually consultancies don't usually deal with products like that. That usually would be more of a company type of designer. You know, if you work at DJI or if you work at like Razer or Logitech, you know. Let's see. I would like to take a look at these books, but sadly I can't stay to watch the video. Could you put them in the description? All right, man, I'll try to. I will try to link them all down there. I don't know about this one though. My roommate gave me these, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure you could just Google innovation and try to get some type of subscription. But I just have a couple of these, but they're really cool. I don't think they're cheap though, so just be aware of that. They're very high quality. Let's see. I would love to take a look at the, oh yeah, I already read that. No, 3 years, 3-year design student. I'm weaker than my class. That's very good to, and honest, you know, that's good to always realize and be honest about, because it's only when you realize it is when you can fix it. You know, that's what I really think. Is when you can really target what your weaknesses are, is when you can really improve on those. And the people that are weak at first and realize they're weak at first, for some weird reason, become the best at it once they get better at it, because they've really, you know, set and made a goal to be better at it. And then they kind of exceed the norm, exceed the average skill. So it's good. Let's see. Weaker and at most in sketching and CAD, but excel in selling and presentations. How helpful is this? Okay. Let's see. Well, I think for an industrial designer, you always should have a good level of product design and aesthetic. And you should have a decent level. You shouldn't be bad, you know, and you should actually be better than good. You always want to be, you always want to aim high. And so I would say just keep practicing. If you really want to get better, then just go ahead, you know, just put in the work every single day. care about it. Like, you know, like there's no special kind of recipe. It really is just you practice it and you get better and you do it on a regular basis. If you're not doing it on a regular basis, even if you get to a high level, you're going to forget about it. You're going to stop doing it. You're going to get really rusty, you know? And so it's only the things that you do on an ongoing basis over and over and over and over again that you really master. So these are the things that you should be focusing on the most, you know? And so as far as sketching, don't worry about it. Sketching, you don't need to be good as long as hopefully some part of it is good, which is probably hopefully the ending. You know, the ending is showing the renderings, is showing the how clean you can do things. Spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff, you know. Just learn, just really figure it out and put a lot more time than you have been. You know, maybe change up some of your processes and maybe try to focus on certain things. Study good ones. Like if you see a good one that you want to kind of be the same as, study it. Like that's what I do. Like I literally look at, like I save something and I look at it over and over again and I see why it's good. I see like it looks like it's more detailed. It looks like it's very punchy. It looks like, you know, there's a lot of texture to it. Whatever it is, really kind of like log it in your brain. And so when you're finally doing it in your work, that you can apply these same elements with your rendering or with your presentation, you know, or with your some type of skill. And that's when you could really improve. Figuring out how to get better is probably the most important thing, is figuring out how to get better so that you can get better. Hi, how can I set up my industrial design company? I do not know, man. I do not know. If I knew, I would be doing it myself. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that for sure. If anybody does know, answer my man Saeed's question right here. Thank you. Yeah, no problem, Andrea. I would love to talk to these books. Okay, and then gonna keep going. Textile for footwear design. Industrial design doesn't offer it, only apparel design department. Textile design, but industrial design doesn't offer it, apparel design department. Oh, that sucks. If that's what you really want to do, maybe you got to switch over to the apparel design department. From mechanical engineer to design engineering, any online masters or online courses, orientations, concept. All right, I do not know. I really do not. I only went to one school. That's Cal State Long Beach. But just I would say my always best approach is to look it up. Look it up and you will be able to figure out everything you can. All right, guys. Whew, I'm super, super tired. Okay, I'm going to end it right there. An hour and 17 minutes in. If you guys want a awesome Design Life t-shirt, definitely go to designlifebrand.com and grab yourselves one. And also a Design Life sketchbook. These are awesome sketchbooks designed by designers for designers. And hit us up at designlifebrand.com and also follow us on Instagram. That is at designlifebrand. All right, guys, this is Jimmy, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.